Good evening, metal motherfuckers. How you doing? It's Sunday night, December 22nd. Thought I'd just do a quick rundown of my top 10 albums of the year, metal albums of the year. Let me crack a beer here before we get started, loosen up a bit. Alright. None of these are really in any particular order. It's been a pretty good year for metal. A lot of great albums out there. I'll just get right to this. Let's see what I got on here. This band I've never even heard of before until this year. I think this was their debut album. They're called Weed is Weed. They're with their stoner rock album called Blunt Force Trauma. Not a whole lot to say about these guys other than they've been on my MP3 player pretty much the whole year. Just really catchy, groovy, heavy stoner rock from, I think they're from Maryland, United States. If I remember correctly, the main member is from another popular band called Earthride, which is also a really cool band. These guys are kind of playing in the background. I'm not sure if you can hear it or not, but yeah, if you like stoner rock with something with a lot of groove and catchiness, most of the lyrics are all about weed smoking, but not all of it. Definitely a really cool band that I've enjoyed. I haven't really seen it on anybody's list, so I kind of feel like it's my little band that I discovered this year. What's up? That was number 10. Number 9, I got Hot Lunch. Another band I'd heard a lot of talk about, but I had a hard time getting my hands on this album until I think I just finally got able to download it maybe a couple of weeks ago. They're from San Francisco, kind of a throwback 70s rock band, kind of what you call proto-punk. Lots of quick drum rolls and tom roll fills, and really good band, catchy, very rock and roll-ish, but still heavy enough that they could be considered in the metal realm. You're not going to hear this shit on the radio. Once again, a band I don't know all that much about, but cool little find. They're called Hot Lunch, and their album is self-titled Hot Lunch. Coming in at number 8, Death Angel. Here's a band I used to like in the 90s. Kind of lost interest in them. They've had a few, I think they've released a good 2 or 3 albums over the last few years, but I haven't really been keeping touch. But I downloaded the newest one, and I really liked it. It's called The Dream Calls for Blood. Once again, can't even comment too much on this album. It's just been on my MP3 player, and whenever I have it on random, songs pop up, and I was like, well, that's a cool song. Who is this? And I noticed that it's Death Angel, so decided to throw this album on my top 10 list because it's definitely something that I've been enjoying. Next one, Pasadena Napalm Division. This is Kurt Bretsch. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name, but if you know DRI, it's a singer from DRI. It's his little side project band. These guys aren't rewriting the book here. If you like DRI, you're probably going to like this stuff. It's thrashy, it's punky, it's silly. Lyrics aren't fucking high intelligentsia here, but I enjoy it. And like again, if you like I said, if you are a DRI fan, you got to check this album out. You gotta. I'd love to catch these guys live. I think they'd be fun, just to get a few beers in you and get a little wild and crazy. So yeah, that's Pasadena Napalm Division. Check them out if you're a DRI fan and you happen to not catch that album this year. Fun little album. Nothing more, nothing less. What do I got next here? Coming in at number 6. Have to put these guys on the list, hard not to. The Mighty Black Sabbath. We all know who they are. I don't really need to say too much about this album, other than Rick Rubin produced it, so I knew he'd do a good job at probably getting these guys back on track. Even Ozzy sounds alright on this. You know, usually his voice sounds like shit these days, but he's not too bad on it. Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler have some great groove riffs and whatnot on this album. I forget who actually drummed on it in the studio. I think it was the Rage Against the Machine drummer, if I remember correctly. Kind of sad Bill Ward couldn't do the drumming on this album. I know that disappointed a lot of people and kind of put a little bit of a dour spirit on things, but hey, what are you going to do? Enjoyable album. I probably like about half of it really, really well, which is saying something considering how old these motherfuckers are. Most guys in their 60s put out pretty shit music from their glory days. This could almost be put in with their classic stuff. I wouldn't quite say it's classic, but there's some songs that are really, really good that are comparable to their early 70s material. So if you kind of wrote this album off and they give it a chance, give it a listen. I think you might be surprised with what you hear. It was good to see these old legends come back, so it was exciting. Coming in at number 5, actually old Kev, a little nod for turning me on to this band. I saw him post a few songs. Usually not too big on the retro thrash movement that's been going on over the last decade. Rather prefer just to listen to the originators, you know, like your Slayers, your Testaments, whatever. But yeah, I really like this album. It was Toxic Holocaust with their album Chemistry of Consciousness. Not a lot to say about these guys. I really honestly don't even know them that well other than this album. I know they've got a few more albums, but just some really tight, precisely played thrash. Really good. It's one of those bands that keep popping up on my shuffle, and I'll be like, who is this? Oh shit, these guys are cool. So yeah, Toxic Holocaust, Chemistry of Consciousness. Check them out if you've never seen them. Coming up next, another big British band that sort of like Sabbath had been sitting low, laying low, and not releasing anything, and out they came swinging with a huge album called Surgical Steel, Carcass. Huge fan of Carcass in the 90s. Who wasn't if you're an extreme metalhead? Thought they were dead, I gotta be honest. Didn't think they'd be coming back, but at least a fine return to form album. A little mixture of heart work with the album before that, Necro, whatever the hell it's called, I can't even pronounce it. Kind of a combination of their older stuff and their newer stuff. Really great album. I enjoyed it. Not much else to say. Looking forward to catching them live when they come around next year. Up next is this is another band I've kind of heard the name thrown around, but didn't really get a chance to listen to them until my buddy Stefano played them for me on his record player. They're called Ulcerate, death metal band. Their new album is called Vermis. They're from Auckland, New Zealand. I don't think I've ever actually known a metal band from New Zealand, so that in itself is kind of cool. Not a lot to say about these guys. They're dark, they're heavy, they're doomy. I think they fall under the death metal tag pretty much, though. Really cool band, really heavy band. So, you know, if you like the heavy stuff, check out Ulcerate. They've got a few albums. I think all of them are pretty solid from what I've heard. Getting close to the end here. Number 2, love these guys. Pretty much they're Caius, but they had to go under the name Vistacino, and their new album is Peace. It's basically the dudes from Caius minus Josh Holmes, who's now in Queens of the Stone Age. He unfortunately kind of brought them to court to stop them from using the name Caius. They were going to, I think, Caius Lives. So it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth with what he did. I mean, he should just let them play Caius, but whatever. They had to change their name to Vistacino. The album took a little growing on me. It's a very jammy album. It doesn't immediately display its songs out for you to latch onto. You kind of got to give it some time, but repeated plays really helped this album grow on me. And it's been one that's been sitting on my MP3 player pretty much all year. Unfortunately, I missed them when they came to town not all that long ago, although I did catch them when they came as Caius Lives, so I don't feel like I was cheated. Yeah, so definitely check that album out if you like your stoner rocky jam music. Very similar to Caius, not quite the same, but if you like Caius, I'm sure you're going to like some of the music on there. Last but not least, what do we got here? Oh, Monster Magnet. Big fan since the 90s. Nice return to form with their new album called The Lost Patrol. Not a whole lot to say. If you like Monster Magnet, check this new album out. It's great. It's space rock, it's stoner, it's psychedelia. Everything I love about Monster Magnet. Dave Windor threw back into this album, and really happy to see him. His health is a lot better, and seems like he's really back into doing the music again full time. So that's exciting. I didn't have this listed on here, but I did want to throw out a quick shout out to Freedom Denied. They put out a really cool, I think it's self-titled Freedom Denied. Correct me if I'm wrong. I know Mark, the drummer in the band. He's a really great guy. Loves his metal. Yeah, unfortunately they only released it on digital format, so that's the only format you can get it in. So Don't expect a hard copy of this album. Really cool album. Short, punky, thrashy metal. I just like it. I'd love to see these guys live. Haven't had a chance. But yeah, check out Freedom Denied. Nice local band if you get a chance. What else do I want to do? Oh, I just wanted to do a disappointments of the year. Don't have too many of those. Just one, really. Twilight of the Gods, Fire on the Mountain. This was an album. It was kind of like a supergroup album. Had the singer from Primordial, who I think is a phenomenal vocalist, really passionate and emotional. Also had Nick Barker from Cradle of Filth and a whole bunch of other projects on drums. And I forget who's on guitars and bass, but all of them had some background in other bands that everyone would know. Just a lackluster album. I didn't mind a few of the songs, but just really overall disappointed with it. I was really expecting a lot out of this album, and it just did not deliver. So that was my one disappointment of the year. But hey, that's okay. And just favorite shows of the year, real quick. Goblin at the Opera House. Oh, fucking fantastic. Fantastic show. Everyone who went to this just came away with their eyes wide open and just amazed. If you didn't see that one, man, fuck. Make sure you catch them next time you come around. Great fucking band. Sabbath at the ACC. Finally got to see the Masters. What can be said about that? They were sounding great. Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler with the bass and guitar just sounding amazing. Even Ozzy wasn't sounding like shit like he normally does. He was just mediocre, and that was all right by me. The drummer who was playing live, I forget his name, he did a pretty decent job. Sure, we all would have loved to see Bill Ward on drums, but fuck, I'm not going to turn down the opportunity to catch Sabbath. So yeah, that was a great show. And the last show that I really enjoyed this year was the Danzig Misfits show at the Sound Academy. Great show. Danzig had a lot of energy and just gave her. Another fucking fantastic show. If you missed that one, you really missed something special. Other than that, yeah, that's about it. It's been a great year for metal. Looking forward to 2014, and also looking forward to checking out some of the lists from my friends that I know have posted or are going to post soon. So till next year, keep your metal, boys and girls, and see you on the dark side.